Hello, all. Welcome to the next edition of Answers to the Daily Quiz. This is from the quiz on the 15th of April. So, the first question was a photograph, and I said it depicts one of the darkest moments in the history of sport. And that photograph indeed depicts the Munich massacre, the sad day when Palestinian gunmen killed 11 Israeli athletes in the Olympic Village at 1972 Munich Olympics. And that's indeed regarded as one of the darkest days in the world sport to date. The second one had a photograph of two tennis players, and the question was, name them. They were both regarded as amongst the greatest tennis players ever to have graced the sport. And they are none other than the ice cool Bjorn Borg from Sweden on the left and the explosive John McEnroe from America on the right side. And they had fought some absolutely amazing battles over the years, especially the two Wimbledon finals in 1980 and 81. And I don't know how much the new generation know about these tennis players, but they are iconic, and people need to know about these players. And I think both those Wimbledon finals can be watched on YouTube. They were, absolutely amazing matches. At least the highlights should be able to watch on YouTube. And they had completely contrasting playing styles and temperament, which made it even more exciting. And the third question was one of the greatest motor racing drivers in history, and that is the great Niki Lauda, who sadly passed away last year. He's an Austrian, and he's regarded as one of the greatest ever Formula One drivers. And as you can see in this photograph, he's got burn marks over his head and face, and he sustained that during a near fatal accident in the 1976 season in the German Grand Prix, when his car broke into flames and he was rescued, and he was in intensive care for a long time. And it is a testimony to his willpower that he not only did he survive that, he came back to race in a few weeks' time. So that's how great Niki Lauda is. And he's also remembered currently for being the principal advisor for the Mercedes team, which has done so well in the last few seasons in the Formula One. And the last question obviously was although these are all sports persons, that's the obvious connection. Apart from that, what is the big connection between these three events? Well, or these three sporting personalities. The first one, Munich Massacre, inspired a film called Munich by Steven Spielberg, which was about, it starts off about how this massacre happened and the Israeli government's response to that, or the Israeli secret services response to that. It's a great film made by Steven Spielberg, I think in 2005. Borg versus McEnroe is another classic film you should watch. Again, it is a film which depicts the rivalry between these two completely contrasting personalities, and centered around the greatest, a Wimbledon final, which is regarded as the greatest in 1980, along with the one Nadal and Federer played late in the 2000s. So that has been made into a film. And the rivalry between Niki Lauda and James Hunt in the 1976 season was also made into a film called Rush. So the common factor is that these three sporting events, last personalities, have inspired absolutely amazing creations of film. And I think I just add a bit about the Lauda-Hunt rivalry. Hunt is British and rivalry is Austrian, and they were competing for Ferrari. Lauda was the reigning champion, and Hunt joined McLaren, the British team. And it was neck to neck. There were a couple of races where one seemed to have won it, but then got disqualified, and the similar thing repeated again. And it was not until the German Grand Prix where he sustained burns. And people thought, oh, this is Hunt's because Niki Lauda can't come back and win. But then the fact that he came back and won subsequent races, but sadly, the last Japanese Grand Prix, because of poor weather, he had to back out because he deemed it too dangerous to drive in those conditions. And James Hunt won third prize and won the title by 1 point in the end. So this is regarded as one of the most exciting Formula One seasons of all time. So the common factor is these three sporting events / personalities have inspired three great Hollywood films, and some of which have gone on to win Oscar. So that's the connection, and I'll come back to you again tomorrow with the next set of answers. Good luck.